When you do movies and you try to make sequel upon sequel upon sequel, and using the same people, and you're going to go down some rabbit hole that people are not going to like, problems start to occur. Now, back on Saturday pre-flight this past week, we discussed about the Indiana Jones 5 that Harrison Ford has sustained an shoulder or arm injury. We're still trying to confirm that. Most things we've seen, it's a shoulder injury, but we would say that they'll be shooting around this. But looks like that the injury may be more severe than what was said earlier. And from what we understand, that Disney is putting a kibosh for several weeks, 6 to 8 weeks at the earliest, to continue the production. Because unfortunately, it's going to take that much time for him that he's going to take some time to heal. And it seems like Ford is going to have to require surgery and is going to be flying back to the United States if he hasn't flown back yet. And it looks like his arm is going to need to be put in a stationary sling for the time period. I mean, Disney is floating around. If it's going to be a long period, then they're going to have to use a doppelganger and then probably do face-off, or whatever you want to call it, which will be horrible on itself, even though the technology is very good at what it does. But the thing about it is that this is the things that you have to remember. They try to push these movies as fast out as possible. And I can understand, especially now after COVID, we are way, way behind. And when you look into the aspect that, you need to slow down, and you're putting more actors in danger, and I'm not talking by age, I'm talking just period in the films that you're putting out. You look overseas, a lot of people do get injured in a lot of the Asian action flicks and stuff like that. Yeah, most of them don't really care because they get paid enough to do it. People like Harrison Ford, get paid enough, but what about the others, the stunt men, stunt women, everybody that does their jobs on the sets, and they don't get paid as much as everybody else. And these are the things that, Hollywood has lost its way, and completely. Because I've mentioned this before. It's like there was a time when Hollywood was, you had art in making a movie. I love the Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom. I enjoyed the Last Crusade. That last film that they did, number 4, was pure garbage.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Was not an indie film. It was something that was shat out of their butt and left as a stinking hot pile of mess. And this is what's been happening with a lot of this. This is why you have a lawsuit still going on, and you're going to be hearing that this week. This was something left over from last week. The video will be running this week. That the creators, the people who created the Predator, want their story back. They want control of the Predator series because they think they can make a better movie than what Disney can. And we already heard the synopsis of the latest film, and it sounds like crap. God, I miss the 80s and 90s. Oh, if I could just go back to those days. again. I wouldn't change a thing, because there was so many great films from that time period. And I tell people today, catch one of those films. Catch an older film, because there was some great stuff back then, whether it was TV shows or movies. We did a Saturday pre-flight. Actually, we're still doing it. We have part 3 coming out in about a week, which we discuss about television productions that there was a time Hollywood wasn't afraid to take chances. That's why we had got Hercules and Xena and Silk Stockings, Forever Night, Babylon 5, Jack of All Trades, Cleopatra 2525, and many other TV series from that era, because they took chances. There's a lot of them that didn't do well. Midnight Run, the TV series, Bandit, the TV series. There was a series called Fastlane, not the cop series, but there was a John Landis Productions that never got off the ground. Made a trailer. There was a trailer for it in the. This was part of the action pack. You saw a little glimpse of it, but it never got past the production part. It just literally just died out immediately. But this is what goes on in Hollywood. You know, they just now these days, it's just pump out the same thing over and over and over again. Put check marks of diversity, change characters. I mean, there's Lord of the Rings, the TV series, going to be crap. You were hearing the changes on Doctor Who, which I consider dead if those rumors are true. It's done. It's just totally done, because they don't understand the series. These people don't understand. They said, well, Kathleen Kennedy's part of this, the Indiana Jones. She was part of it from the beginning. Let me explain something to you. Kathleen Kennedy is one of the people in charge of 5. She was never in charge of the first 3 movies, and let me explain. Having a producer's role on the credits doesn't mean you got input in the creativity process. It means you either shelled out a lot of money, or you did a lot for the executive producer. In other words, you're told on the set, they say, listen, we need a big boulder for this scene. Go out and get it made. Okay, I'll go out and get it made. You got a producer's role. You ordered somebody to have it done. Producers, like I said, doesn't mean you get total input on the particular show or movie. It's a whole variations. There are very rare, some producers that do get a input, but you had to have been up there in the echelons. You had to have been big name at the time to get input. I've had friends in the industry that have gotten production credits that basically all they've done was just assist to help promote the product out there. There are people that says on there, if you give us money on Kickstarter, we'll put give you a production credit. So when you tell me, it says, oh yeah, this person, they've been on since day one working with Steven Spielberg. Understand, Indy 5, no Steven Spielberg. And you're not going to have the same look, the same feel of what an Indiana Jones film is. I'd rather go back and watch the Young Indiana Jones TV series. I don't know if anybody remembers that there was a TV series, I think it was ABC, that was the Young Indiana Jones, and I think Harrison Ford was only used once in the entire series on that. Mostly it was like an older gentleman playing in Indy in the series, talking back to his younger days. during the wars and stuff like that, and how he became an archaeologist, and it was mostly him at war, being in the military. He expected a lot more out of that series, but hey, what can you do? There's so many things that are on the table, so many things that have been canceled that basically were never given a chance to live. And you look at the perspectives that, they should have been given a chance. They should have been given a chance. Whether they succeed or fail was up to how it was made. And you look at this, it's just, the way they're just putting this stuff out they're just channeling this out day in, day out. I just saw the Candyman trailer. Oh man, that's just a heap of shit. Jordan Peele has fallen so far in this business. He was such a great comedian, and now he's become a political hack. That's all he's become. And at some point, a racist in certain ways. Because when you start to say, hey, listen, I'm not going to hire anyone of a particular color to be a leading in my mail, that's not being proper. And like I've said in another video, there's going to be a point where people in Hollywood, they think they can get away with this for a long time. But there are people counting the moments. And when they get to a certain amount of moments, then the lawsuits will fly. Yeah, there are employment regulations to this. Unions have been paid off. Trust me, they get their money no matter what. So they should be they should be sticking up for the union members, but they don't give a shit either. That's why certain unions, they need to get rid of all their leadership and revamp the whole entire union. Does the employee need help in certain things? Yeah, of course. That's why we have the unions there for. But unfortunately, it doesn't work well. The union member is always screwed over. I've been in this business a long time, and I've been in certain unions in the industry and out of the industry, and it's never worked out well for me. And my wife the same way. She's been in unions as well, and I'll tell you honestly, what she went through, you should never let anybody go through. She was never helped when she needed the help. And she asked for the help, and they still didn't give it to her. Never saw light of day in a courtroom. Let's put it that way. So, delays on Indy 5. We'll see how long this is going to take, or if they decide to do something else. We've reached this part of the video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.